Well, as you heard just a bit ago, we've got a birthday in the family. Claire is turning 4, and so this afternoon, we always do a little bitty. It's not a huge ordeal, but we have a little birthday, and Kendra always makes a cake. And one of her things she likes to do is to make it from scratch, something she does for all the kids. And I said, okay, what have you? Makes it from scratch, and that's awesome. But my favorite thing is simplicity, and I like cake mix. And this is what I would try to recommend to anyone, is to not have to spend hours in the kitchen. And she was last night, but she loves every bit of it, and I love that about her. But one of my favorite things is simplicity, instant mix, right? Raise your hand if you've ever used one of these before. Thank you. All right, we're on the same team here. All right, so here's the deal. This is simple, right? Simplicity is good. We know that it's probably going to work. Did you know that that it used to be even more simple than this to make a cake? Betty Crocker, I'm not sure if that was the company that did it, but there used to be cake mix that you didn't have to add vegetable oil or eggs to. There used to be instant cake mix that you just had to add water to. Water only. Has anybody ever remember that, seen that before? Okay, so when it was created, they wondered why it didn't sell very well. It didn't hop off the shelves like they thought it would. That all you had to do was add water only, put it in the oven, and voila. So they researched it, and their research discovered that the public felt uneasy about a mix that just required only water. They thought, well, that can't be good. There's something wrong with that mix. Something's going on there. And so they wouldn't do it. They thought it was just too easy. And so the company altered the mix, and they changed the recipe to call for not just adding water, but to add eggs, and then ultimately even adding vegetable oil or butter. There's some of that, butter, whatever, in these instant mixes that makes life easy to make a birthday mix. And so they said, let's do that, and they tried it, and they put it out there, and sales increased dramatically. Just because they made it more difficult to make cake, which I think is counterintuitive to me, but the public decided or thought, and it makes sense, that that's just too easy. It can't be right. I'd rather have something that I have to put an egg in. That way I feel like I had more say in what we just made, right? Feel more accomplished in it. And you know what? I read that, and I thought, that reminds me of the way that people see God's plan for salvation. To some people, it sounds way too easy. That all the work's already been done for me. Surely I've got to do something more. Surely there's something else that I need to add to this. Even though what we just read, by grace you have been saved through faith, it is the gift of God, not of works. They feel like there's something more to it. There's something more that they have to add into this recipe for salvation. I think that's a fair analogy. Because we are such a what do I need to do to earn this? That I've got to earn this and I've got to work for this. We're such a type of people that thinks that we have to put something in order to get something back. That's what our world says. The harder you work, the more successful you're going to be. The more you put into it, the more you're going to get out of it. And you're going to hear that over and over again. Harder you work, the more you're going to fight out, and you can pull yourself out of this mess that you're in. There was a preacher who was sharing a false analogy of salvation that I read about. He told about this frog that was thrown into this tub of milk. And he said that this frog never gave up, and he kept on paddling and paddling until he paddled so much that he churned it up and he turned it into butter. And because he worked so hard, he worked his way out of this mix out of this vat of milk that he worked his way out. And then if you do that, you're going to find your way out of that misery that you live in. You just got to keep trying harder and keep working harder. And that is false. That is the opposite of what the gospel is. The opposite of what the Bible says is that, in fact, it should be that you need to stop thinking that you have to work and fight your way out of it. You never will. You never will. In fact, it might be the opposite. That you're working yourself too hard and you think it's all me, that you're not even seeing the hand that's trying to pull you out of the misery that you're in. You're so blinded to your own misery, blinded to your darkness, that you don't even see that you're lost. You don't even see that you're never going to pull your way out of that. Never. You have to be willing and have to have our eyes opened to see that. And so, unlike that cake mix company, God has never changed his formula. Never changed the formula to make salvation more marketable. He never has and never will. It is that simple. It is that simple. Is that we have to step outside of ourselves and to stop thinking we earn it. And to realize it is by grace through faith, a true gift from God. Truly a gift that you got to stop thinking that you've got to do something other than believe to earn salvation.